Hello, people. This is Dicksta's Dishes with Richard Joseph LeBeau. That's me. And my dog, Brian, which you'll see running around. He'll be bipping around. He thinks he's a werewolf every now and again. But anyways, we're going to get to this, and we're going to make the best pasta sauce you've ever tasted. This, I guarantee. Well, welcome back, and here we are at the garden. This is the thing we're going to do is we're going to use the freshest New England. Now, this is New England weather. Tomatoes we can find in the garden. So we have Frank Arbus over here. He's my assistant, and he's going to pick them for us after I show him exactly what we need. So pick me at least 100, maybe 125. Okay, Frank? You got that, Frank? Thank you, Frank. And people, while Frank is busy over there, we're going to come over and pick our sweet basil. And I use sweet basil because, well, I'm going to tell you later why I use sweet basil. And it's basically for bitterness, and you don't have to add sugar and stuff to your sauce. Basil. Now for the rest of the ingredients, we have Frank. Thank you. Frank Arbus. Thank you. Before Frank took over this job, we gave the job to Brian. Used to have the job of picking the tomatoes, giving me all my stuff, but he grew paws. So now we have our tomatoes, we have our basil. Now we need the rest of the ingredients, which include olive oil. Thank you, Frank Arbus. We're also going to need onions. Thank you, Frank Arbus. We're also going to need garlic. Thank you, Frank Arbus. I also put in a little bit of dry basil into the oil. So thank you, Frank Arbus. That was quick. Good thinking. Can I have the tomatoes now, Frank Arbus? Thank you, Frank Arbus. Arbus. More, Frank, please. Can you just keep handing them to me? That's why you're here? Thank you, Frank. Frank Arbus, you're the best. Oh, sorry, Brian. He's not the best. You are. Thank you, Frank. All right. Thank you, Frank. Step aside for a minute, Frank. Now, these ingredients are specific. If you don't use this particular brand of tomato sauce, it's not going to work. But if you use it, it's going to come out perfect. But here we go. This is Pastene Kitchen Ready tomato sauce. 1 can. Since we're making a double batch, we're going to use 2 cans. Next, we have the Hunt's sauce. 1 can. This is a 15-ounce can. This is per batch, if you want to per se, per batch of sauce. So we're making 2 batches again, 2 cans. And again, we have Del Monte stewed tomatoes. You have to use Del Monte. So specifically, people, use the brand that I'm telling you, because if you try it, I've tried all different brands. It took me years to develop this. The way it comes out is just unbelievable. It's quick and it's easy. You ready? And now to prep the tomatoes. The fresh tomatoes from the garden, we're going to take them. We're going to take the flower part of it off that it grows from. And we're going to take your favorite knife, this basically any knife you're handy with, cut them right in half. After you cut them in half, just squeeze out a little bit of the jelly in the tomato in the middle, the seeds. You just want to get the seeds out of it. Right, Frank? Frank? Brian? Frank? Okay. I'm glad you guys are happy. All right, now I want to explain one other thing. While we're here, and the reason we're doing this is, I saved the seeds for the garden. After the frost, I'll put them back in the ground for next year. Well, now while Frank over here is taking his dear sweet time cutting up all these tomatoes, hopefully we get the show done by tomorrow with his speed. We're going to cut up the onions, garlic, and basil and get it ready for the pan. So stay tuned. We're coming back at you. Frank, pick up the tomato, will you? no portobello mushroom babies in this recipe. Stove here, and we're going to start cooking our beautiful sauce. What I want to do is get a hold of Mr. Boss. Thank you, Frank. Olive oil first. Thank you, Frank. Frank, our boss. Let's get this thing fired up. Oh, there we go. Nice little flame here. Just put it down to medium. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, olive oil's here. Let's start off with onions. We're going to put onions in both pans with the olive oil in both pans. Thank you, Frank, our boss. All right? You don't want it too hot because you don't want to fry the onions. You want the onions to be clear when they're cooked. So just before they become clear, we'll be putting the garlic in too. So let's go. Frank, our boss, please. The garlic. Now we add our garlic. Just when the onions are ready to be done. The garlic. Garlic. Beautiful. Frank, how about a little bit of basil? Thank you, Frank. A little bit of basil. And for both. I'm going to tell you why we're going to make it two different sauces after. Frank, now I need the tomatoes. Now we're going to combine the tomatoes only in this pan. So the tomatoes are going to go here. It's like I just pet them. All right, Frank, our boss, thank you. Now, one thing. You don't want to use too many tomatoes because you create a tomato monster. You remember that would happen. Tomato monster. And now, what I do with the stewed tomatoes is, and they have to be, please people, you have to realize these are Del Monte stewed tomatoes. Any other kind will change the recipe. Now what we're going to do is emulsify it. You know, a little bit to break it up. And you'll see why. You'll see why later. All right, let's put these in this pan. And we're going to combine them again. Of course, we're going to put them all in the same pan. In cans like that. Frank, next. Thank you, Frank. Stewed tomatoes next. We have to go in that order. Frank, H2O. 3/4 full, please. Watch out, the bottom's hot. Sorry, Frank. If it's too heavy for you, Frank, just let me know. I'll get Brian to help you. Getting too heavy. Brian! And I want to add one little thing. Just a quick thing, because I always mention this. My father's Charisse. Now, you got to try the Charisse, but he takes my sauce and makes a delicious Charisse sandwich with my sauce. Frank? You ready for this, Frank? This is the finale. Now that we're back and we're cooked down a little bit, what I want to say is we have two different sauces here. They're going to be combined to make one delicious sauce. The reason I did it that way is because you want the tomatoes to be kind of robust and make it like a beautiful garden pasta sauce. So what we're going to do is put we're going to put the noodles in, the spaghetti in, and then we're going to take the pasta sauce, combine them, and then we're going to make the plates up. And we're going to be shining like shooting stars. I think so. And here we are, folks. We have sauce, we have pasta, we got to get fork, freaking things out of here, Frank. And we have a delicious meal that you guys are gonna watch me eat this, and so are you, Frank. Frank, our boss. Oh, Frank. Oh my God, Frank. Frank, you gotta try this, Frank. Frank, you gotta try this. People at home, you're gonna love this. You have to make it for yourself, and what you have to do is, I will give you the exact ingredients you need to make this delicious pasta sauce. You can use what kind of tomatoes you want, as long as they're fresh out of the garden. You can use whatever you want, and of course the pasta that you desire. But the problem here is, I like angel hair pasta, and I hope everybody else does. And Shquib TV is where you gotta go to get this recipe. It'll be on the screen, and I hope you enjoy it. Right, Frank? Frank! Thank you. Damn, this is good. Check the bread. Oh, Mick Jagger, you're gonna love this.